Hello, welcome back. All right, I have some time because my man is distracted watching Star Wars. So, we've just had such a lazy day. Oh my gosh. So lazy and just watching shows, reading. I've been flipping through Christmas cooking magazines from the 90s, trying to figure out what I want to make for Christmas. Would you like me to post my favorite recipes from the ones that I find? I just bought them the other day at the thrift, and I've been having so much fun going through them. I am so, like, if I see food magazines from the 90s, particularly like 93 to 98, the nostalgia for me. And there's some really cute little recipes in there and like yummy, yummy stuff. So I don't know if you ever want to, maybe I could share them sometime. All right, we are going to continue reading my story by Leslie Player. My story, The Duchess of York, Her Father, and Me. I've had such a hoot reading this. Oh my gosh. I actually, right now, the video is rendering, is that the word? I don't know anything. What I did is I took that first chapters and I just squished it down so that I can add the first chapter and the foreword to the playlist first. So that's going to go up. This is going to go up. And yeah, hold on. I'm going to pause and I'm going to go get my sippy, because this book is perfect to have a little straw to munch on. Okay, I'll be right back. Hello. Okay, I'm back. I got my Sprite plus tea. You know what? I was realizing that earlier this morning when I was reading the Royals and I was like talking to my best friend on the phone, that I was just yapping about paying my student fees. Oh, it's like I didn't even think twice that that was going in the video, and I didn't even think to edit it out. So anyway, you know how it is. Sometimes when you're a student and it's Christmas and you owe a big student fee at the end of the month, oh Lord. Anyway, everything always ends up working out. That's what I've learned, you know. And if there's anyone like young, like university aged, like you're going into university or something like that, like one thing, if I could give anyone advice when they are just coming out of high school and going into university, it's build relationships at university. Build. And I don't mean like amongst your peers, like, yes, that's important, but like build relationships with the staff, with your professors, like just really cultivate those relationships, because then if you are ever in a position like, you know, I find myself where, you know, sometimes you just don't have the payment due on the date it's due because you get paid a week later. You know what I mean? Like sometimes those things happen. But if you build a good rapport and they can see that you're consistent and, you know, they will make allowances for you that they won't make for other people. And that's just this, it's not the sad truth. It's just, you have to prove yourself to be friendly and to be honest and to be consistent. And when people see that and they know that you're not just yanking their chain, they will, you know, they'll help you out because they're not just out there to be mean to you, you know, like they do want you to succeed in your university career. So just in case there's anyone watching, that's my big number one piece of advice when it comes to uni. All right, let's get into this. I don't know how long I have. I think he's got half an episode and then another episode. He's watching the Book of Boba Fett. All right, chapter 2 is entitled Hijinks. I talked it over with my mother. For a start, I had no one else I could really discuss my life with, and she had always wanted the best for me. What should I do? Where could I go? I was 18 years old, and there had been no young men in my life whatever, and now she could sense my restlessness. I had been a home bird for too long, and now it was time to flee the nest. Mummy said, I think you should go away. The atmosphere is too claustrophobic for you. What do you want to do? Have you any idea? I already knew. Medicine, I said firmly. Something in the medical field. Don't ask me why. I was learning to trust my instincts. I just feel it's right for me. But first, I'd like to improve my languages. The result was that I found myself on a plane to Zurich, with a study course in German ahead. At Gatwick Airport, or Gatwick, whatever, that's British, not German. Silly me. We were all in tears, my mother, brother, and sister, clinging on to each other, and to me by the departure gates and crying. We don't want you to go. And I was crying right back at them. I don't want to go either, but it's too late now. What a sight we must have been. She's so dramatic, but it's too late now. But it was too late. We had enough money to afford it. And off I went for... What? What? This girl. But it was too late. We had enough money to afford it. Okay, congratulations. And off I went for a year, during which I had the time of my life. Not too much work, but a whirl of parties and socializing in the heady atmosphere of Switzerland. My new friends were the rich kids who ostensibly were there to study, and in fact were there to have fun and spend their parents' money. Okay, but she's also a rich kid. In the end, I stayed for only 9 months. But in that time, I had acquired my first boyfriend. Kevin was a languages graduate from Cambridge who had been between years, taking his second year off for practical experience abroad, before going back to finish his course. I became part of that practical experience and was lucky to find a warm, tender, and sensual lover as my first real boyfriend. We spent a lot of evenings in a pub called Oliver's in the old cobbled part of town opposite the famous chocolate house, where the calorie count is measured in thousands. It was known as the English pub because of all the British students who frequented it. It was brilliant to meet Kevin. We got talking in the pub, and everything just happened from there. We found we had a lot in common, and always had so much to talk about. We just swung into an easy, uncomplicated relationship, and I couldn't have wished for anything better. It took me 2 weeks before Oh my gosh. It took me 2 weeks before I went to bed with Kevin. Oh yes, say it as though that's 2 years. I mean, I don't care. I don't care if she hopped into bed with him like after 2 hours, but I'm just saying it's just her phrasing that's like, oh. He had a room of his own on the fringe of town along the river. One night we went to a party, and then back to his place afterwards. That was where I lost my virginity, willingly and happily. And as I did so, I was thinking, this is the first time in my life I have ever known what passion means, and it's wonderful. It was 2 days before my 19th birthday, and what a lovely surprise present it was. I'm sorry, does this not turn your stomach? It's just the turns of phrase. I've learned since that it's really quite exceptional. You don't find passion with everybody, even if you want to. Above all, you can't force it. I have had 11 lovers in my life, with varying degrees of passion, both in and out of bed, but I consider myself a very loyal person. I give myself entirely to one man, but I give all of myself. I went out with Kevin for 3 years, and in my marriage, which would last 7 years, I was never unfaithful. Not once. All right, congratulations. You know, that's good. That's exactly how you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be unfaithful in your marriage. Duh. Like, do you want a prize? Why am I being so nasty? I think I'm being a little nasty because, I don't know, there's so much privilege coming out of her. Anyway, I had another point, but I forget. I went to America for 4 months to see the country before coming home to England, where I had applied for and won a place in Cambridge Medical School, close to the university, with no problem at all. See, she's full of herself, isn't she? Like, I mean, I have had friends who went to medical school. I have friends who are in law school right now. But I have never had one of them say like, oh yeah, I won my place with no problem at all. Even if it's true, because they're humble. And, so they just don't feel the need to be like, no problem at all. I just find it a little off-putting. Oh my gosh. Okay, where I had applied for and won a place in Cambridge Medical School, close to the university, with no problem at all, to study the subject of my choice, radiography. They told me, "It's because of your grades. You're a very bright girl. We would have taken you whatever subject you wanted to study." The fact that Kevin would be back there to finish his own course was another good reason to choose Cambridge for the next 3 years. I took to university life like a duck to water. In this case, the placid waters of the beautiful River Cam, which winds through this university town like a gunmetal gray ribbon. I was so lucky to have gone to Cambridge. My 3 years there were among the most formative of my life. They introduced me to creative, exciting people, and I dived headlong into the deep end of university life. In my 3 years there, I joined just about everything that was going, from the arts groups to the Port Society, where people sit around long tables, quaffing... Sorry, my cat's throwing up. A hairball. Hold on. All right. Quaffing, port, and changing the world. That must be a joke because, anyway. Kevin had come back from Switzerland and was in Jesus College, while I was in the medical college attached to Addenbrooke's Hospital on the edge of the city. The Port Society was one of the most cherished institutions, highly unofficial, but a must for any fresh-faced undergraduate anxious to make his mark and be accepted among his peers. It was also one of the hallowed male bastions of the university. Well, doesn't she just get into all the male bastions going? Because she already told us that she was, whatever, the polo club, which is also a male bastion. That seems to be one of her favorite. One good reason for this was that the entry ritual was somewhat daunting, and not many women had attempted it. Oh, she's not like other girls, guys. To get in, you had to drink half a pint of port in 5 seconds! ! In my naivete, I queried, "Aren't there any women members?" Kevin went quite pale. "Absolutely not," he said. "Why not?" "Because women can't do it, that's why not," he said quite curtly. "Wait a minute," I said sweetly, looking as if butter, let alone port, wouldn't melt on my palate. "Do you mean to say that if I can swallow half a pint of port in 5 seconds, I'll be allowed in?" "Dream on," was his reply. I called on Debbie, one of my girlfriends, for moral support. "You've got to try it too," I urged her. The next meeting of the Port Society took place in the bar in the inner courtyard of Jesus College. Word had got around that 2 girls were going to attempt the unattainable, to muscle in on this stronghold of macho supremacy. The place was packed to the rafters, and the atmosphere was like one of those old noisy taverns you see in films about highwaymen or brigands. There were even 2 or 3 lecturers watching discreetly from the side. Everyone knew about the society, and the authorities turned a blind eye to its activities. 2 half-pint tankards were filled to the brim. We were both ordered to stand on the table. Someone handed me up my tankard. My girlfriend was panicking. "How did you get me into this? I hate you. I'll hate you for the rest of my life." I said, "You can do it. I know you can. We've got to show this lot." The president, a young grandee named Donald, took out a stopwatch and consulted it. 5 seconds, no spillage, he announced loudly. "Are you ready?" We nodded. "Then on your marks, get set, go." And I did it. I don't know how, but I just took a huge breath, shut my eyes, and just poured it in. Everyone just gasped and then broke out into a great volume of cheering, which swamped me like a tidal wave. And I didn't see this coming, but poor Debbie couldn't manage it. Port is very heavy and sweet, and to get half a pint down was just too much for her. But I was reluctantly accepted into the ranks as the first girl ever to sit at the long tables with the Port Society and be a part of that very special body. In the months to come, I learned that they certainly talked a lot, but whether they ever solved any of the world's problems remains highly questionable. The upshot to that night was an unexpected confrontation with the law in the shape of an elderly policeman on the beat who saw me weaving unsteadily on my bicycle along the country lane that led me to the medical college. I couldn't face any more port that night, but what I had downed was much more than enough. In short, I was so smashed that I was out of this world. He grabbed the handlebars and said sternly, "Young lady, do you realize I can report you for being drunk in charge of a bicycle?" I put my arms around his neck and breathed heavily into his face. "But, sweetie," I squealed joyously, "do you realize I have just joined the Port Society? Isn't it wonderful?" He said, "Look, I'll let you off this time. Just wheel your bike home and don't try to get on it again tonight. All right?" Next morning, ouch, it took me a day to get over the hangover. The Port Society proved a lively place. One other gauntlet I saw flung down was the raw egg and port challenge. It's a great pick-me-up in the morning for a hangover, Angus, a law undergraduate with an accent that would baffle any jury, proclaimed on a winter's evening when we were lounging around our corner table in the long bar. "What is?" someone inquired. "The yolk of an egg in a glass of port, but the trick is you've got to swallow it in one gulp without breaking the yolk. It slips down as easy as quicksilver, I promise you, and within 10 minutes you'll feel better, as long as you can keep it down." "It sounds awful," I said. But the others were intrigued. Someone was dispatched to the corner grocer's across the road and came back with a dozen eggs. 4 of them agreed to try it. I abstained. I actually didn't like port all that much, though over 3 years at Cambridge I drank my share with the best of them. 4 eggs were broken, and the yolks were carefully poured into 4 glasses of port. "Down in one," ordered Angus crisply. Gulp, down they all went, into 4 eager gullets. There was a pause. Then, said one of them, his face already slightly flushed. "Not bad, let's try another." And that's when the contest began. Cries of "more port" arose. Trays of glasses arrived. After 3 rounds, the eggs ran out, and I was sent for more supplies. I bought 2 dozen just in case, and after the next dozen had gone down the hatch, so to speak, only 2 members were left who could face any more. Both of them were purple-faced and spluttering, and Angus's accent was so thick you could have stirred it. But he struggled on and managed to swallow an 8th egg to be the outright winner. How he kept them down, I'll never know. From that moment he was known as 8-Egg Angus and treated with the respect he deserved. But I never saw him repeat that particular little ritual. The kind of people I mingled with at both Cambridge and later in London were the self-styled intelligentsia, thinking, creative people. I never could stand airheads. Guys, am I just being mean, or is this not insufferable? You tell me. I would have to say I was on the lower end of being intellectual, so naturally those rather superior students attracted me like a magnet. But it didn't stop me getting up to all sorts of pranks. I have a wicked sense of humor, and had plenty of opportunity to indulge it amid the hollowed walls and careering bicycles, which between them are my abiding image of Cambridge. We were silly, but never stupid. A little juvenile? Probably. We never threw bricks through windows or let tires down, but we girls in the medical school did have a lot of fun at the expense of the boys. Now it can be told. I was the one who pinched their clothes when we all went skinny dipping in the River Cam. "Sorry, Bob. Sorry, Nick. It was me." Silly goose. Usually around the time of the May ball, when everyone was letting their hair down and going slightly mad. On a warm summer's evening, we would be splashing around in the water in the nude. I would float around in the water, and I would float gently and unobtrusively away from the others, and when no one was looking, sneak out onto the bank and grab a pile of clothes from the grass and the one next to it. Off I would scamper into the bushes to hide them behind the rhododendrons or up a convenient tree. Oh, yes, I'm sure she's climbing up a tree in the nude. Then I would slip back to watch in mock horror when my fellow dippers climbed out of the water and started shouting for their clothes. In my last year, did she hide her own as well? Because I think people would start to figure out, like, oh, there's only one pile of clothes here, and it's yours. Am I just being awful? Is it just me, or can you hear the privilege? Like, I have to know. I have to know if it's just me. In my last year, I hid them so well the poor lads had to walk back through the town with only a towel to hide their blushes. I pushed a note, unsigned, under their doors to say where the clothes were, and finally came clean a few days later when it was safe to admit it. By then, they could see the funny side of it. Just about. Another popular prank was to invite all the boys you didn't like to dinner in your rooms. The girls will do the cooking, just bring a bottle. And by the way, it's black tie. Goes well with the candlelight, we would say coyly to all the known creeps who had been pestering us for most of the term. We would stay away while half a dozen sweaty-handed great lovers turned up and milled around for an hour before they tumbled to it. Next day, we pleaded wide-eyed innocence. No, next month. And by next month, sorry fellers, we had other dates. But I would never knowingly hurt someone emotionally. Okay. She says, after she just describes hurting people emotionally, and not only like she embarrassed them in front of all their peers. Like that's I think that's an unkind thing to do. And she's saying that they're a creep. Like we don't know. It's not like they were they heavy breathing on the phone? Like if a guy asks the girl out, doesn't mean he's a creep. He's just shooting a shot, you know? I'm calling them sweaty-handed. Come on. I just think if someone was like that creepy, you'd be so uncomfortable, like you wouldn't even bother doing something like that. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't interact with them. You would avoid them. You wouldn't be like, oh, I'll show you. I'll invite you on a date and then stand you up. But I would never knowingly hurt someone emotionally. Even when I was young, at the age when girls can be so cruel, I always tried to let a guy down lightly if he was genuine. Oh, do you see what she's doing? She is really setting herself up against other women. Like, I'm not like other girls. Girls can be mean, but I'm not mean. I'm really like another boy, only I'm a girl. College days were as happy as my school days. I qualified without too many headaches, and I'm very, very smart. The work was fascinating, and deep down I felt I was doing something useful, if not earth-shattering, to help my fellow human beings. But all too soon the 3 years were up, and I had to face the big wide world and think about earning a living. Well, yes, that's what the schooling was for, wasn't it? I would miss Cambridge. I would miss the camaraderie, the friendships that I hoped would endure forever and never did. The laughter, oh yes, above all, the laughs we had in college. Medical students are notorious for practical jokes, and the mob I was in with were no exception. The funniest prank, oh please, yet another one. The funniest prank I was ever involved in had to be the time that John, one of our would-be doctors, was about to get married to a radiology student named Christine. On his stag night, actually the day before the big event, a group of friends took John out on the town and got him hopelessly drunk. We girls were out on a hen night with Christine. The boys carried John into casualty and plastered both his legs, with a steel bar between them to keep them apart. Then they took him to the station and put him on a fast train to Glasgow. John woke up encased in a plaster, wondering how he got there, and unable to move. I'm so sorry. I don't think that's funny at all. The poor chap persuaded a porter to wheel him on a luggage trolley to the first train back to Cambridge. He arrived at 4 a.m, took a taxi to the hospital, and was cut free on a return trip to Casualty. And he managed to make the wedding. Yes, I would miss Cambridge. Well, you know, I'm not surprised that you guys aren't friends anymore, because that would... Listen, if someone did that to my man on our wedding day, I would... But London proved to be just as lively. As a qualified radiographer, I was taken on in the radiology department of St. Thomas's Hospital, that huge monolith on the south bank of the Thames, directly opposite the Houses of Parliament. The X-ray laboratories were on the first floor of the Lambeth Wing, overlooking the river. In those heady, carefree days of the late 70s, working in one of the country's great hospitals, life opened out again for me. I moved into digs in Swiss Cottage in North London with a girlfriend from Oxford University, another medical graduate named Fran, and entered into the party round with zest. We became part of the Chelsea set. The King's Road was a hub of the social whirl and a constant hive of activity. London was the place to be, and lots of my friends from the medical college had followed me to the capital. There was always somewhere to go, someone having a party, and never a dull moment for a bright young thing with no ties who was just out for fun. It was all very casual. I went around in jeans and leathers and T-shirts, drank St. Clement's, orange juice, and bitter lemon, and behaved like any other girl of my age, just 21, having a good time. We would all gather at a pub in the King's Road we dubbed the Holy Fook. Word of a good party would spread, and off we'd go. The parties were lively and noisy, but for me, never more than that. A lot of canoodling went on in dark corners or in empty rooms, and for the odd diversion we would hang people out of windows by their legs. But it was all pretty innocent, and we never let go of our victim, or lost a guest on the pavement below. Well, thank goodness. One silly practical joke, One silly practical joke that was a favorite of its day was doing the light bulb. It was horrendously simple. When no one was looking, one of the young bloods would creep into an empty room, making sure the light was off, unscrew the bulb in the ceiling rose, insert a suitably sized coin, and screw the bulb back in. Then he would mingle with the rest of us. When the next unsuspecting person walked into that room and flicked the switch, poof! All the lights in the building fused. Very funny. Unless you happen to be the host, stuck in the dark, yelling for candles. Alcohol flowed in plenty, though I never drank that much, and without being prim about it, perish the thought. I am quite proud that there were never drugs at any of my parties, even if the booze did flow in rivers. Fran and I acquired a reputation among the medical set for holding the best parties in town, even if they were more carry-on doctor than anything else. We were tipsy and loud, yes, but I was never loose or into drugs, not even cannabis, which seemed to be the taste of the times. For that I can thank my mother. Value your body, don't abuse it, she had hectored me on more than one occasion. Remember, it's the house you live in. It's all you've got. As for my moral outlook, whatever was to come later, more than once I had some drunken young doctor pawing at me in the kitchen before slurring, "God, you're so straight-laced, it's sickening," and lurching back to the party in frustration. The sort of circle I was spinning in had loads of raucous fun to keep it whirling. Many was the time I would find bodies draped over armchairs in the cold light of day, which was when the black coffee came out. I must say I never saw myself as straight-laced, but neither was I promiscuous. I just didn't want to sleep around, then, or ever. Okay, I'm going to stop there because I have to go Christmas shopping. Okay, let me know if you'd like us to share recipes. I think that would be fun. I could put up a video, and then in the comments we could just share some of our favorite little things that we do. You let me know. Okay. Well, please tell me what you think of this. Is it just me, or is she a little she just seems really full of herself. But it's fun. I mean, I don't really dislike her. She just seems a little out of touch somehow. Oh my. With the man himself. Uh-oh. Look at that. All right. Heaven forbid a girl have hobbies. Okay. Well, you let me know what you think of her writing voice, and we will continue soon. Please don't forget, it's Silver Screen Sunday tomorrow, and I think you're going to like what I picked out. Okay. I will see you soon. Bye.